Great. So if you see me, again, I'm going to be multitasking and allowing people into our meeting as we go. So again, good morning, everyone, for joining our March meeting of our task force. We're, as you all know, meeting during Women's History Month, the time to recognize leadership and the resilience of women and girls, especially those from communities that are often too targeted by harassment, bias, and violence. At the same time, we're confronted with the reality in Massachusetts and across the country that hate and bias still is a very serious situation. 2024 data has come out nationally on hate crimes. It's been one of the worst years reported, driven largely by incidents motivated by race, ethnicity, religion, and sexual orientation. Within that, anti-Black, anti-Jewish, and anti-gay incidents are among the most frequently reported, and the Jewish community continues to experience most religious motivated hate crimes, even as Muslims and LGBTQ plus communities are also faced with increased levels of hate and harassment. I think we talked about last month, most recently, statewide report documents about 467 hate crimes in 24, down from 557 in 2003, but still very, very high, with anti-Jewish incidents now the single most reported bias type. Several Middlesex communities appear among the most highly reported municipalities, which likely reflects both real and harm comparable strong reporting policies, like the fact that people are reporting, whether it's to our office, to the local police departments, to different nonprofits, really helps to make sure that we keep these numbers accurate, and it encourages others to speak up where they intersect with this violence behavior in our communities. A few updates on reported, but before I get to that, I do want to recognize, as we talk about these numbers, we have to take pause to acknowledge the recent passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who died last month at 84 after almost 6 decades as a civil rights leader. From marching along with Dr. Martin Luther King to founding the Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson, spent majority of his life confronting racism, anti-Semitism, poverty, and other forms of hate and bias. His call to keep hope alive and to build a truly multiracial democracy is directly connected to the mission of our task force, right? Resisting division, protecting targeted communities, ensuring that everyone can live, learn, and worship without fear. So we hope he rests in peace and in power, and always will be thankful to his service. A few updates about what we've been doing over the last meeting. March 3rd, we hosted our Healthy Teen Relationships webinar in partnership with Dr. Emily Rothman from Boston University School of Public Health. This event focused on helping young people and adults who support them, recognizing the signs of healthy and unhealthy relationships, understand the dynamics of power and control, and learn strategies to intervene early. These conversations are critical because abusive or controlling behavior, bias-based name calling, and online harassment often show up first in adolescent relationships and peer groups. By talking openly about respect, consent, and boundaries, we are helping to prevent the escalation of harmful behavior. So if that is of interest to you as we talk about this, please reach out to us and let us know. This was on a larger scale of bringing youth together to talk about these issues, but DA Ryan is also very vested in doing community outreach and talking about these behaviors to smaller groups. So any thoughts on that, please reach out to me. She'd be more than happy to address that if you have a community that wants to hear more about that. On March 11th, we hosted the Empowering Citizens Conference for middle school and high school students across Middlesex County. This initiative was dedicated to fostering civic awareness, leadership, and participation among students at a time when trust in institutions is seriously being tested. The students heard from a distinguished line of leaders, including Justice Serge Georges of the Supreme Judicial Court, Senator John Cronin, the Honorable Carrie Ricci, Joanna Legate, the CEO of the state's United Democracy Center, and some other really good speakers that are locally known, news reporter Tiffany Chan and attorney Linda Champion. Each speaker offered a unique perspective on public service, civil engagement, and what it means to be in a healthy democracy. So the theme was kind of drawn on the Bill of Obligations by Dr. Haas, which outlines 10 obligations for good citizenship. So again, if this is something of interest as we talk about having community conversations, and sometimes there is a little civil discourse as we need to, agree to disagree, please reach out to me and let me know, as DA Ryan has done community engagement conversations about this. We also, today we're going to deepen our work by focusing on community partnership and lived experience. We're honored to welcome our guest presenters from the Mass Alliance of Portuguese Speakers. MAP serves Brazilian, Cape Verdean, Portuguese, and other Portuguese-speaking residents across our region, working at the intersection of language access, immigrant rights, and public health and safety. Many of the people they serve face barriers to reporting hate and bias, whether because of language, immigration status, fear of retaliation, or prior experiences with institutions. So their perspective is essential if we want to respond to every corner of Middlesex County and all the people that are here within our county that we serve. So we're very excited to have them here today. I want to turn it over to our speakers, but let me introduce you to them. We have Carlos Matos. Carlos is a first-generation American born to parents who immigrated from Belo Horizonte, Brazil. I hope I'm saying that right. Born in Lowell, Mass., he was still fortunate to live in Brazil for 7 years as a child, where he learned the language and the culture. This experience allows him to be fully immersed in both American and Brazilian culture and provides him with a unique perspective of how he views the world. He graduated from the University of Massachusetts Lowell in 2016 with a BA in liberal arts with a concentration in legal studies and psychology. He has volunteered for the Center for Hope and Healing from 2012 to 2013 on their anonymous hotline for victims of sexual assault, and was trained to respond to medical calls when he would accompany victims to hospital post-trauma. He's volunteered in MAP's Lowell office from 2014 to 2016 with outreach programs in the community, as well as the 2018 Gala Silent Auction. So he also works from 2018, was a part-time administrative assistant for Justice at Work and a part-time community health worker for the HIV STI program at MAPS. By 2019, he was a fully community health worker working out of the MAPS Lowell office, and in 2020 became one of the 2 supervisors for the HIV team. In 2021, he joined the MAPS management team by becoming the program manager for the HIV STI prevention and screening program at MAPS. Today, he continues to manage the program and directly supervises 7 community workers and 3 non-medical caseworkers across all the MAPS office. We also have Maria Matos, who has immigrated, has been an immigrant integration service caseworker at the MAPS since 1989. I don't know why I can't speak this morning. I think I'm going too quickly. In August 2025, she was promoted to program manager while continuing her role as a caseworker. In 2015, she also became a partial accredited representative. Maria is known for her compassion, deep knowledge of social service, and unwavering advocacy. She has helped countless clients achieve stability, access resources, and thrive in their communities. Of Portuguese descent and born in Portugal, Maria is fluent in Portuguese and English and conversational Spanish. Outside of work, she enjoys spending time with her family, baking, and going to the beach. I like that, reflecting the same care and dedication she brings to her clients every day. And we also have Dulce Ferreira. Dulce has been the director of the Dual Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Program at MAP since 2013. In 2013, she also became the director of Immigrant and Integration Services. And held that position currently with DV and SA director position through October of 2016. She began working in MAPS in 2008 as a women's health educator, then became a supervisor of the Women's Health Education Program. In 2010 was named supervisor of the Men's Health Program under MAPS HIV and STI Screening and Prevention Program. She is of Cape Verdean descent, born in Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, and is fluent in Portuguese, English, and Cape Verdean Creole. She holds a master's degree in management from Cambridge College and a BA from American University in Washington, D.C. So very excited to hear about this very important program that services so many here, not only in the county, but across the state. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Carlos, to share your screen and to hear the wonderful services that your organization provides.
Thank you. So let me just share my screen.
Perfect. I see, Carlos.
All right, awesome. And then I'll let Jill start.
Hi, good morning again, everyone. Thanks for having us. So we are MAPS. We are here. Actually, I was looking at it, but it was a coincidence. We're here representing the three main communities we serve. I'm Cape Verdean, Carlos Brazilian, and Maria is Portuguese. So Massachusetts Alliance of Portuguese Speakers, we've been in existence for 55 years, and our main role is to help improve the lives of immigrants, Portuguese-speaking immigrants. We have 6 locations and 12 programs. So our mission, like I said, we help improve lives of Portuguese speakers in Massachusetts and helping them become active participants of the society and maintain a strong ethnic, while maintaining a strong ethnic identity and sense of community. Our values rest in respect, knowledge, dependability, and human rights. As I said, we cater to the 3 main Portuguese-speaking community, but anybody is welcome. For instance, the Immigrant Integration Services program serves everyone, for everyone that comes in to apply for citizenship. So it's not just Portuguese speakers. And also any other program where someone walks in for services, if they are not Portuguese speakers, we have enough partnerships that we help refer them to the appropriate services. Next. So this is just an overall idea of our community needs and our approach. Our service provision comes from this coordinated response stance. So we provide direct services, education, help navigate systems, and referrals. But the huge part of our work is zeroed in on advocacy. We help clients with our language access services. All of our staff speak one of the 3 languages, and we help pair clients with someone that speaks the language. From the entrance, the front desk on, everyone, it's from one of these 3 communities. We help with housing needs. We help with healthcare access. We help people navigate the citizenship application. And people in domestic or sexual violence crisis, we give them support and guidance to help stabilize their lives. All our services are in the language of the client and are confidential and safe and free. As we all know, we are going through some challenging times, and as immigrants, that has had or continues to have major impact. So from people fearing to be captured, and so not showing up for appointments for their immigration services, for people not wanting to apply for healthcare or legal services or even public benefits. Being afraid of that hindering their further along if they want to apply for citizenship, they're afraid that may affect. And the constant anti-immigrant rhetoric has made more and more of our communities, individuals, feel unsafe. Tied to that also is the funding. So we are we run the possibility of having many cuts, and that just means that the number of people that we serve are all going to be impacted, not being able to access the service we currently offer due to cuts in funding. I can just point out some of our a few of specific impacts. So family separation anxiety. Okay, people are always worried that someone will go out for work or for school and not going to come back, or people are not coming in afraid of applying for benefits. There's confusion about if am I eligible, am I not, due to fear. People seeking help in case of domestic violence and sexual assault cases. People are fearing reporting or even coming to services. We know that in these current circumstances, what happens is that people will not report and will remain in very dangerous circumstances. So to help navigate, we continue to provide services with high confidentiality as much as we can. We try to go to the clients. If they're not coming, we try to go to them. We try to call and try to meet up where it's safe. We have expanded outreach to be able to reach people further into our communities. We have follow-up calls because since they're not coming, there's a duty upon us to do a check-in. But our work wouldn't be possible if we didn't have partnerships with other agencies. So everything that we do count on other agencies for referral. Right now, for instance, we have a huge mental health crisis, which we had before, but it's compounded due to current circumstances. So even though we are able to provide some of that service is going away. And we actually had a cut in one of our grants that helped us provide mental health service to domestic violence sexual clients. But that fund went away, so we had to simply stop serving survivors with that kind of service. Next.
Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about just our social services overall that we offer here. So these are just a couple of our social services across multiple programs. But so we do the citizenship application, the employment assistance, immigrant integration. We do elder services. We actually have a senior center in the Cambridge office that sees about 30, 40 seniors a day. It runs Monday through Friday. I believe it's 9 to 3 or 9 to 2. And we also have corrective intervention, and those are for educational programs. So it's the impaired drivers program and
the intimate partner program.
Intimate partnership program, and that one's based out of the Somerville office. And now, obviously, we have our DVSA program. We help people with voter registration, and then we also have translation and notary services out of the Cambridge office. And here are our health services. So we do have a child and family clinical services. Last fiscal year, they served about over 600 families. That program, they do in-home therapy, but that is not a walk-in service. That is a service that so a family would get referred to us by DCF. So those are DCF cases that have some Portuguese-speaking capacity, and then they link it to our program here at MAPS. It is run out of all our offices, so they cover a pretty large area, pretty much the whole state. We do have the health insurance assistance, so we have a Health Connector Navigator and at MAPS that will help our clients apply for Mass Health or like Health Connector. Last fiscal year, they helped about 4,500 people. And then there's my program, the HIV STI program. We offer at no cost free and confidential testing for HIV, syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and linkage to care. And then we also link them to PrEP. And then we also have our non-medical case management team for our HIV positive clients. And then, like Jill said, we did have our mental health capacity, but unfortunately, because of funding cuts. I know it is going away within the next couple of months, which is a bummer because it is in need at this time. But overall, these are all our health services, and it's all of them are offered in English, Portuguese Creole, Portuguese, and then HIV/STI program. We also do have Latino community health workers that speak Spanish as well. And I'll pass it on to Maria.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. I will speak briefly about our Immigrant Integration Services Program. So within this program, we assist families that are low income. And when they come to MAPS, we assist them with housing applications, employment assistance, SNAP applications, fuel assistance. And within the public benefits, when we apply for benefits for these clients, we also want to make sure that they are maximizing their income. So we make sure that when clients are assessed in our offices, we want to make sure that they are receiving every possible benefit that they would be eligible to receive. And when we also assist clients with their health insurance applications, we also want to make sure that they are connected with primary care doctors. Some clients come in and they do not have a doctor, so we also assist them with that. And within our citizenship program, we assist clients in applying for their citizenship, renewal of green cards, the N-600, which is a certificate for a child under the age of 18 when a parent becomes a U.S. citizen. We also do fee waivers for clients that are income eligible based on a public benefit. So if we have a family coming in and they wish to apply for any of these services, such as the N-400, the N-600, or the I-90, if they qualify for the fee waiver, then they would not be they would not pay the filing fee for these applications. And we also assist families once they bring in their tax return if they are eligible for a reduced fee. So we have a lot of families that come in and they bring already their check or money order to pay the $760. And once they bring that tax return, most of the families would only pay the $380. So we're all about, helping these families to make sure that they're only paying what they need to pay. We want to make sure, tough times, that they are eligible for all these services that are being provided to them. And we also have referrals that we make to the families, such as ESOL classes, financial literacy, and legal services. So if we are assisting a family for an N-400, which is the citizenship application, and they have a criminal record, if we are uncertain due to that criminal offense, we would reach out to MIRA. They're one of our partner agencies that we work very closely with, just to make sure with the client's consent that their criminal record is okay for them to file for their N-400. We would never want to put a family in a situation where they could be deported when they're going in for their N-400 interview. Next slide. All right, so with the IIS impacting the community, so MAPS becomes their major entry point. So we have clients that come in, and it could be from a senior who has received some mail, and they are uncertain what is important mail and what is not important mail. So we explain to them, we try to educate them as far as teaching them, once they receive, their mail, how to separate that so that they can understand a little better what they are receiving as far as mail coming in. And we also try to make sure that when the clients come in, that, you know, what the barriers that they're facing, that we can help them with that. And let me see if I'm missing anything else here. No, and we want to make sure that the families have stability within, you know. Sorry, I just got stuck here with the slide. I apologize.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then Julie?
Hi, yes. I'm just going to say a little bit of this program, my program. So this program started out with only three advocates. We had one advocate in Lowell, one in Cambridge, and one in Dorchester, covering the three communities. Today we have 6 advocates covering. We have Metro West. We have one person also for the Metro West area. Our service provision for the domestic violence sexual assault program lies in 3 main pillars, and that is client-centered, kind-centered, trauma-informed, and culture-specific. We utilize those tools in every single aspect of services that we provide. We offer safety planning, crisis intervention, legal and medical advocacy. This is our biggest work. We do information and referral. We do education. Most of the clients that come to us, or program participants that come to us, in many aspects, when they come, even when they're in crisis, they still do not know what they're going through. So one of the roles of the advocate is to explain and help the participant understand what they're going through. So part of counseling, which is a service we offer, is educating the client and helping them understand what they're going through, and address any other aspects of their lives that we could offer support to. Aside from the services here included, we also offer support groups. We currently have a men's support group, which is run by our advocate in the Metro West area, Framingham, and another colleague that's in Everett. So the groups are ran online to give opportunity to people to participate, because we have people that work many long hours and in different locations. So we want to try to cater to that. For the women's group, we have a Cape Verdean support group, which is run out of the Dorchester office. That group is what we call a community group. So it has program participants and community individuals that are guests of the program participants. But of course, nobody that's part of the program knows who's who. It's just a way of coming together, build community, and learn from each other. Our services are offered free of charge, confidential. We have a walk-in basis. People can walk in, people call to us, but we mostly have referrals. Our referrals come in through word of mouth. So one client comes, gets the services, passes on, and our biggest reach is through word of mouth. We have, for going back to the list of supporting service, safety planning, it starts with our own advocates. So we have some protocols in place where if the circumstance is really dangerous or puts the advocate at harm, we do our own safety planning and then help the client do the safety planning. And with that, we use a client risk assessment where what's done is periodically that safety plan is reassessed, because it's a moving plan. It's not a one-time thing. So the safety planning is tools that we give to the client to help reduce the risk of escalating or them putting themselves in harm way. In advocacy, we do a lot. We do housing advocacy, legal advocacy. In legal advocacy, it goes from helping the client go to that most of the times are afraid to go and report a crime, to accompanying them to that place, to accompanying them to the courts, to also offering language services when there's none available at the courts, or when the person that's doing the interpretation is tied up with another case and we don't want to wait. So the advocate takes ahead of that and assists with the language access. And like I said at the beginning, our none of our work would be possible if we did not have great partnerships. So we are a member of GENDO, the Massachusetts Coalition for the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault, and we have access to about 60 member agencies, some that are like us, culture specific, meaning they target specific community, and others. We have a Rape Crisis Center with whom we actually have great partnership with Casa Mirna, where we've been able to place some of our clients that were at shelters or homeless. We were able to place them in housing. So it's a great opportunity that we've had, and we're trying to expand on that. Given the current times, our intention is to continue our partnerships and look for newer partnerships to support our community.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about my program, the HIVSA program. My program breaks down into two major sections, which is the prevention and screening services, and then the HIV non-medical case management. So for the prevention and screening services, the community health workers, we have 7 across all our offices. They offer at no cost confidential screening for HIV, syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and Hep C. So we do the tests, we send it out to the state lab, we get the results, we can send them to the clients, and then if the client is tested positive for something, then we link them to care. So because we cover such a large area across all our offices, we develop partnerships with like multiple hospitals. So BMC, Lowell General, Lowell Community Health Center, Program Horizon, Framingham, really wherever it's closest and easiest for our clients to get treated. And then we'll accompany them, we'll make the appointment, register them, accompany them to treatment. If they need, we'll provide interpretation services if there's a language barrier, which a lot of times they do. Our CHWs also do a lot of outreach. I mean, like that's how we get our client. It's like going out into the community and doing that outreach. And then as well as our weekly clinics and office, we also do clinics outside the office. So we go to other locations and other agencies, realistically anywhere that we're allowed to go, we will be there. We go to Everett City Hall once a week and provide testing over there. We go to the Mexican consulate once a week, Roca in Chelsea. We'll do a nightclub if they allow us to go there. Our priority population is the MSM, so the LGBT community, and then non-US born is the bulk of our community that we see in this program. We also provide health education and PrEP referrals. And through our partnership with MGH, we actually run a PrEP and STI treatment clinic out of our Cambridge office every Wednesday. So they send a nurse practitioner into our offices, and he actually will prescribe PrEP and administer treatment for STIs in our Cambridge office every Wednesday. And then the second part of my program is the non-medical case managers. So once we identify a HIV positive client, whether it's a newly diagnosed or someone that is moving into the state from another state or from out of the country sometimes, they seek us for help to help them continue their treatment and to find a doctor here and stuff. So like our case managers will make sure that they have their health insurance, that they have their Ryan White application and HDAP application done, that they are linked to a doctor, that they receive any sort of support they need to adhere to their medication and to lead a healthy, undetectable life within their span in the program. It is a long-term program. So, I mean, we've had clients that we've had for 5 years and we keep supporting them. It's as long as a client feels that they need our support, we're going to be there. Our non-RF case managers will also accompany clients to appointments. They do home visits. We do also offer those services across the whole state. The only area actually that we don't cover is the Cape. Other than that, we pretty much cover everywhere else, and we do have clients all over. And that is it for my program. And I'll pass it on to Deuce. Deuce, you're muted.
From here, you can see the impact that we've made. So overall, we've served about almost 30,000 individuals throughout these years. And I just want to give you some highlights for immigrant integration services. You could see, about 10,000 people served, about 4,000 and plus helped with health insurance and DV. This is just direct services. About 400 have been served. And for STIs too, this is just for testing, 1,300. But if you add out the outreach numbers, it's way, way, way higher. And I just wanted to highlight a few quotes of people from our community with regards to the services they received. So for the HIV, we have, I knew I was safe to tell my story without judgment. So this is, their feedback of the services received. For somebody with health insurance, there are people who bring light wherever they go. It's 1, 2. And so for somebody else that was supported with DVSA services, they were essential to my family and my healing as a survivor. So these are little testimonies of people we served and how they felt supported. Next.
And then here we have our offices and locations and how to connect. Like we said, we have 6 offices. So our headquarters is, and our first office is in Cambridge. We have one in Somerville, Everett, where I'm based off of, Dorchester, Lowell, and Framingham. There's our website and an email over there, as well as our phone number. And then here are just a couple of our key partners. Obviously, that's a very small portion of them. We would need multiple slides to fit all our partners. But yeah, and that concludes our presentation today.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I just had a quick question. If you could talk a little bit about, because a lot of the wonderful services that you provide are free. Where have you seen the gap of whether I'm assuming it's a lot of federal funding that was cut off? Where are you
Yes.
looking to fit those spaces of being able to provide the level of service that you're doing?
So each program's like funded differently. I mean, like it is a lot of federal and state funding. We do have donors that help us a lot. For example, like the Senior Center, like a way that we help support it. Every year we have a golf tournament, and that usually raises about 60, I want to say, right, Maria? About like 60, 70,000, and that helps us supply additional funding for that Senior Center. My program, I actually don't have any federal funding right now, or any direct federal funding. So my program is funded by DPH and then BPHC. So those are the 2 major funders in my program. Through BPHC, we have the Ryan White funding, which is federal, and then DPH, I also have the EHE funding, which is federal, but other than that is state funding. And we did have a cut last fiscal year of $250,000, which is a huge cut. That's when we, as community-based organizations, kind of have to play musical chairs. You got to find funding here, apply for something else. So like when we had that cut last year, DPH cut that money. BPHC announced the funding for a year. I was able to apply to that one and keep the staff that was going to let go because I was going to lose one of my CHWs. So that's what we really do as an agency, because not only are we taking care of our communities, but we're also trying to take care of our staff. And we also don't want to let go of staff that is dedicated and hardworking because it's hard finding a staff that can speak any of those languages and want to work in this field. So we really want to hold on to the ones that we have. And that's really how we do. It's with the help of communities and other agencies and whatever funding we can find, really.
I I would like to add to particularly to mental health. So it has always been a huge need for our community, continues to be, especially because there's not enough Portuguese speakers or Cape Verdean Creole speakers to cater to the communities we serve. We were so excited to have the ACF funding. We had it, it was a 4-year funding, but it was suddenly cut last year. So we had 2 more years to go. It was cut. And so we had a list of clients enrolled in that short-term mental health that we just had to say, hey, unfortunately, it's going to go away. We can no longer provide the service to you. So we were excited because this gave us an opportunity to connect two of our main programs, which is the Family Services Program and DVSA program. So we would refer, it was a free of charge, we'd refer clients from the DVSA for mental health services in that program. But all of a sudden, that was cut. What we were left with was an initiative that started back during COVID, a small funding from different areas that what we were doing, we called Mental Health Initiative. That too is going away. It's a little bit of funding that we have, but that too is going away. So that means we're going to go back to how we used to be, having everyone with a need, especially now for mental health service, and not being able to, except for private or other places. I know that we've referred to Cambridge Health Alliance and other individual providers, but the bulk of our community will be left without that. And for us, MOVA, for the DVSA, we're federal funding and state funding. MOVA right now is facing a huge cut. And with that cut, MOVA funding covers not just myself, the director, but all my staff. A good chunk of their salary is with MOVA. And so we are facing a major cut coming up, I think FY27. And one of our advocacy work that we did just March 16th is really trying to see if there is, MOVA is working on the $13.8 million to support that whatever that's going to be lost to cover for us that are going to lose funding. So hopefully some of that is going to be approved.
I see a question on the chat as well.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a reduction in clients due to current concerns on our immigration federal level? Yes, not a reduction in clients that we see, because like regardless, we're able to see our clients, but I would say a reduction in office clients specifically. Clients are more afraid of coming in, especially in like certain offices. I know that Lowell has seen a reduction in clients, but also because Lowell's on like our office is located on Central Street. And ever since the ICE raid started, Central Street and Lowell has been like a targeted area. We've seen ICE multiple times in that street. We've seen people get arrested on that street, so they kind of like avoid that area, as well as other offices. But we find ways around it, like Jill said before, like we'll do phone follow-ups, we'll go to clients' homes. I know for my program, like we've offered in-home testing if they're really that afraid of coming in, or we'll do testing in different venues so that they have other options if they don't feel safe. For my program, we're also able to do different hours. So if a client only wants to come in after office hours, that's okay. Like the community health worker will adjust their schedule so that they're here. Like when I was a community health worker, I used to do testing at like 8, 9 o'clock at night for those clients that work all day and have no other option and no other time to come in. I've done testing on a weekend. So like we're very flexible to make sure that our clients get what they need. But it's been jumping through hoops and, going with the flow and seeing what's happening.
Yeah, and I'd just
We,
like to add for our program, we also offer the option of the client having, instead of coming into the office, we assist clients by phone. And this could be for any type of benefit. It could be from a housing application to a SNAP application, citizenship. We make that available to the client. And then we can actually mail the signature pages to the client, and they can have a family member drop it off if they are fear of coming to our office. And we've also seen a reduction in some clients applying for their citizenship because of the new immigration policies, especially with clients that receive their green card through marriage, because now the immigration officer is looking at that file to make sure that there was no fraud involved with that marriage. So we have seen some decrease, and this is within all our offices at MAPS.
I would like to add too, we've seen a huge decrease, especially of new clients. I do monthly reports, and I've noticed that more than 25%, okay, for my kind of account. So I'm preparing the reports, the quarterly reports, and I noticed in our MOVA reports specifically that we only have like 5 new clients, everything else is ongoing. And so that says a couple of things, new people are afraid to come in. Those are already here. There's been established a rapport and trust of an ongoing service, so they'll come. But we noticed that for new clients, it's going down. Also, we have supported clients via phone, even going to court. So if the client is with some courts, we were accommodated. They had that accommodation of us doing a 3-way phone call and us supporting the client, having it support 3-way. We've been successful in many of those. So we have established too connection and partnership with many courts. So with the victim advocates, with the people there, we made it so it's been better in many places, but not so much in others. So there's some courts that you still go for a restraining order when you think that's what advocates say. So depending on the judge that's there, when they walk in, even they're well prepared, everything looks that have enough justification, it's going to go a good term, they don't get a restraining order. It's something that seems simple ends up not being successful. But overall, I think we've been able to accommodate clients in this current atmosphere. Granted, we know what we know, we don't know what we don't know. So we feel that people are not coming because of that. But also too, for those that come, one thing we've noticed that there's this reluctance in sharing more or being comfortable in that first intake, because we're seen as an institution like any other one. So there's this fear that, oh, where's this information going? Or even though our database are password protected, and we are very limited in what we put on the database in terms of notes, just to protect the client. Thank you.
Anything else? Well, thank you. Thank you all. I am a huge fan of MAPS, going back to my days in Cambridge District Court when you were on Cambridge Street. The services that people are able to get from your organization are incredible. So I'm really happy that you've been able to, even with all of these changes, keep those services going. So thank you. We are grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I want to talk about a couple of things. First, beginning with, I'm sorry I was a little behind this morning. We were doing a press conference in a case that really directly relates to these issues. We, this morning, are going to arraign 2 individuals with a third to follow this week, who have been operating a very, very sophisticated housebreak into homes of Southeast Asian and Indian families. They're being charged today with 5 breaks and with surveilling a 6th house. Enormous amounts of money and jewelry and family heirlooms taken from the houses. But what is more frightening about these cases is that this is a very sophisticated group of people. They are coming up here from Rhode Island. They rent an Airbnb, and then every day for several weeks, they are incredibly disciplined. They are out the door and they are taking targeted houses. They are putting trackers on the family's cars. They're putting surveillance cameras on their property. So they spend some period of time getting to know the family's routine, so they are comfortable with when the house will be empty. And then we have 2 or 3 people going in there at once. They're very disciplined. They turn off all of their devices. They bring jammers with them so they can jam whatever kind of alarm system the families may have. They're in and out pretty quickly, taking huge amounts of property. So bad enough, something happening and somebody breaking into your house and losing, in some cases, really irreplaceable family heirlooms. But to know that it is targeted because of who you are and that people have literally been in your driveway putting trackers on your car and cameras in the bushes around your house so they can know when you come and go is really very frightening. And that goes so far beyond just the taking of property. And that's why we have really, since we first started working on these cases a couple of years ago, we have made every effort to be just more sophisticated than they are. And it's really a testament to law enforcement partnerships across Massachusetts and across the state. The 2 of these individuals were arrested in Maryland. Another's been arrested down south. They're being returned to us. We partnered with the Fusion Center from the state police. The New York City Police Department was enormously helpful, and some of these other departments. But it is really a model that is, these people are young. They're 25, 26 years old, but they've got this model. In quick, rental cars, Airbnb, fan out every day. First, watch the house. Then when you know the routine, in and out of that house pretty quickly, taking a lot of property. So it is a part of the work here because we know the impact it's having on the community. And we're really publicizing it to get the word out, particularly to members of those communities. So they are both taking care, reporting anything that they see as a little bit suspicious, something you might otherwise brush off. Looks like somebody's been in your driveway or something. We want them reporting that to the police because somebody might have been in there putting a tracker on the car. So really a very frightening situation. And it comes, as we know now, that hate crime levels remain very high. While every other kind of crime is going down, these have stayed high. 2024 was one of the worst years on record for a number of different crimes. The most recent numbers are down just a little bit here in Massachusetts. We went down from 557 in a year to 467 with anti-Jewish incidents, now the single most reported bias incident. I was at the diplomatic Seder on Sunday, and just harrowing to hear the stories that people have been, of what people have been subjected to. And what is concerning is that several of our communities are in the higher reporting municipalities, which reflects, I think, both real harm that's happening, strong practices of reporting, things like our portal where people can report, the police departments that have designated officers to particularly handle these kinds of crimes. And so that is just really very frightening. And of course, it comes at the same time that we've been mourning the death of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who spent 6 decades as a civil rights leader and died last month at 84. He built the Rainbow Coalition, bringing people together across race, religion, and class to confront so many forms of hate and bias, and used that call of keep hope alive. And we really salute that. And remember, and it's just difficult to think about how much effort, how much of his life he gave to this work, and then to see where we are today is really, in some respects, very discouraging. Similarly, on March the 3rd, we hosted a healthy teen relationship webinar. That program was really focused on young people and adults recognizing unhealthy relationships, understanding the whole dynamic of power and control, and learning strategies to intervene. I think probably we did it with Dr. Emily Rothman from the BU School of Public Health. Probably the most interesting thing I thought, and what she was talking to the kids about, was when you're, especially when you're young and you're in a relationship, it should be happy. It should make you joyful. And if you've got a relationship that's just a lot of work and is constantly putting you down, that's just a bad sign. Like, just be will. And interestingly, the next day I went to speak at one of the White Ribbon events, and there were a lot of young people there. And I talked to them about that. Like, how many people are in a relationship that just makes you happy, makes you feel better about yourself? Um, Unfortunately, there was only about half of those kids who raised their hand. And, I talked about how, when you've been married a long time or you've been together a long time and you have kids and you're paying the bills, yes, there are worries and concerns, but you shouldn't be seeing that when you're in high school or young. And so many of them are just caught up in these terrible relationships. Similarly, on March the 11th, we hosted the second of our Empowering Citizens Conference, brought together several hundred kids. And the idea of that is really that it is my belief that for kids that are 15 or 16 years old right now, all of the time they've been aware of the world around them. The person they've had as their model has not been what we want them to be modeling. And yet these kids are going to become our voters, our jurors. And how do we give them a different picture? And we started this series back in the fall with the book, The Bill of Obligations by Dr. Richard Haas, which if you haven't read, I really commend to you. It's a very little book. It's a wonderful book. And the premise is we all know the Bill of Rights and we know our 10 rights, but those things don't come free. And we all have 10 obligations. For instance, voting, being involved in helping others, giving back to our community, being civil with people we disagree with. So that's been the premise that we've been teaching the kids. This time we were fortunate to have Justice Georges of the SJC, Senator John Cronin, who came and talked about his 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, Carrie Ritchie, who spent 4 years as the General Counsel of the Army and deployed twice to a combat area. She just talked about really running that, what she learned, how it helped her in terms of her education. We also had, and this is a program, and for anybody working with kids, this is an unbelievable program. Probably all of you know David McCullough, the author. His grandson, whose name is also David McCullough, along with Adair Cohen, have founded a group called the American Exchange Program. It is open to anybody who's a senior in high school. They send the kids for 3 weeks for free to a place in the United States that is as different as possible from where they come from. So kids from New York City might go to a ranch out in Nevada someplace, and they spend that 3 weeks with a host family, really seeing how other people live and learning to communicate with people that are very different from them. So it's an amazing, amazing program. So we had the kids for that. And then we will on April 9th. And again, I encourage you to send people. It is Women's History Month. On April 9th, we will bring together about 300 or 400 young women, high school women from across the county, to really talk about and see different things that they could be. I really believe if you can't be it, if you can't see it. And as the only woman who has the privilege of being a district attorney, I really want to show young women things that are out there. We've had speakers like Valerie Biden. President Biden's sister was here. She's the first woman to run a presidential campaign. We had a woman from the National Security Council. We've had Olympic champions bring their Olympic medals. And if you haven't seen it, I personally thought one of the most fascinating things, our last program, there is a brand new sculpture of women in downtown Lexington, right in Lexington Square. It's incredibly beautiful. It is about an 8-foot three-paneled screen which reflects women through the ages. It was created by a woman who lives in Acton. She is also the person who did the sculpture that is at the site of the World Trade Towers in New York at St. John the Divine. And the two things that are pretty fascinating about the sculpture, I'll tell you in case you go to see it, is when you look at the three panels, although they don't say this, there is a connection between the figures from the far right and the far left moving towards the center. So if you look at it that way, you get a whole different picture. And the other thing that is amazing is beginning with the women who were part of the Revolutionary War in Lexington, who are depicted, she, as part of her process, actually found living relatives of every woman represented, and their palm prints are embedded in the bronze of the sculpture. So when you see, for instance, one of the women who lived in Lexington, who was part of the Revolutionary War, the niece of that woman who is alive has her palm print in the bronze of the screen. So it's just an amazing piece of art, and she came and really just showed the kids how you do that. She had a slide presentation of the whole thing, so it was amazing for kids. And I think that all speaks to the work that we are doing to be sure that everybody is seen and heard, that we are across our communities knowing what's available, like with maps, and also being sure that people feel free to come forward when they suffer some harm. So I'm going to turn it over at this point. If anybody has, any of our partners have upcoming events or things that they want to share with us.
Jules, I will send out the flyer for the gala, right? It's late April, April 25th. I'll share that with everybody in the
Okay.
notes for the meeting.
All right. All right. Thank you all for being with us. Our next meeting will be April 22nd. We'll see you all then. And again, thank you to all of our speakers this morning. Thank you for everybody for coming on. Take care.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having us.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.